Thank you for your time today, Dr. Jabala. Let's get straight into the virus. So how much do we know about this COVID-19 virus?
We know that it's the same member of a larger family of these viruses known as coronaviruses. They actually exist everywhere. They spend a lot of their time with animals. So this is a third virus that has crossed. So we have SARS-1, MERS, and now SARS-2. We are beginning a completely uncharted journey with this virus. We don't understand a lot because the behavior is completely different. I was very surprised at the outbreak in China, the numbers of people that were infected in such a relatively small period of time. It's very unusual. This virus is much more aggressive and much more lethal. And for every virus, there is a certain level of lethality. There is a lethal dose. There is how much of this virus you need to have in your lungs before it kills you or before it makes you sick. With this virus, it's not very clear. It's actually very disturbing. There have been some interesting reports that they've had people who were sick and they were cured. They released them out of the hospital and then they got reinfected. The truth is very simple. The assays that we do every day to test this virus, they can only test a certain limit. And if the virus level goes below that threshold, you're not going to detect it, meaning you're going to release the patient and say you're healthy enough to leave. What I find alarming is we are releasing all these patients, telling them they are virus-free, and they go back to the community. Many people, including me, we start calling it a very mysterious, very cryptic virus because we don't understand it, and it doesn't seem to only attack the lungs. It seems to also attack the heart, and it seems also to attack the liver.
There's so many unknowns about this COVID-19, and China, the Chinese government, is responsible for this lack of information. Do you think this is actually becoming an obstacle for developing a vaccine sooner?
China is not forthcoming with a lot of this information. This information is coming in different bits and pieces, and I think there are some fantastic people around the world that are spending time dissecting that information and putting it together. It's not so much for developing a vaccine, but to study the trajectory of where this virus is going. Right now, we're in the middle of a storm, and a vaccine is not going to help. Even if we have a vaccine today, it's not going to help. I think people don't realize that vaccines don't work for every individual that gets the vaccine. Vaccine is a preventative thing. Vaccine is really helping your immune system to kickstart. Your immune system is really what protecting you. The vaccine is just helping, pointing to the immune system where to go. The information that we're lacking from China is about one individual, patient 0. The case in Italy, the cases in Iran, we have few cases in the United States, especially on the west coast of America, where we can't link that fingerprint to the virus from Wuhan. So without that information of that patient 0 in Wuhan, it's really, we are in a bad situation to understand where this virus is going. So that information will be really critical for us to understand the evolution of this virus. And that would really help us stop the spread, not to treat the virus, really stop the spread.
So you're saying that the patient 0 is the key to understand the nature of this virus and contain this virus?
So, yes, patient 0 is really critical to tell us what were these, what we call advantageous mutations. One time it can infect us, that's the transition. It means now this virus figured out that the virus has the key now to borrow, not just to borrow our engine, to borrow the whole body as an engine for the virus to spread. The only way to keep it at bay, if you have a very good vaccine that makes antibodies that's going to neutralize the virus and clear it, that's wonderful. But for 20 years, many companies, many researchers have promised us a virus for SARS version 1. And we are in 2020 and this vaccine doesn't exist. Many reasons. One is there is no more threat, so everybody forgets about it. Two, they have tried and they have identified difficulties that these viruses are not amenable to a vaccine. And because of that, they may need several years of research. The best comparison to that is the Ebola virus in Africa. The only reason we got a vaccine for Ebola is because Ebola decided to leave the continent of Africa and start infecting people in Europe and in America. So those people start getting worried about an Ebola spread on their own soil. And that was the push for government funding to get those vaccines done. Companies will not make vaccines if there is no one to buy it. They only make it when the government is under crisis. So the government can write the check and sign the check and hand over the money. But those governments have not seen a vaccine yet for SARS. And there hasn't been a push for it. Now, perhaps, they will try something, but I am not holding my breath.
We are seeing a rapid spread of this virus, and the WHO declared that the spread of this virus is a pandemic. Why is this virus traveling so quickly around the world?
So this virus is traveling with new friends called bacteria. These bacteria love to live in confined environment like an airplane. They live on the hard surfaces, they live on the soft surfaces. We, as an unaware patients, we're going to sit on that seat on the plane, we're going to touch everything, we're going to read the magazine that 200 people read it before, and each time somebody touches the magazine, we leave some bacteria in there. And as soon as those people land in Italy, as an example, and get out of the airport, now they're going to spread this thing everywhere. But as soon as you get into a patient who are in the higher category of age and have underlying diseases, you start the factory. But the virus that woke up in Italy is much more aggressive than the one who left the plane from China. Mutations. And now it's much more aggressive that what's going on in Italy today, we can plot it on an exponential curve. It's scary.